What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is March 6th of 2019. Well, folks, I hope you are having a great day wherever you are. As you can probably tell, I'm still traveling at the moment, and I just got away from Hong Kong Blockchain Week, which has been fantastic so far. Been doing a lot of great networking and meeting a lot of awesome people and projects, but the show must go on. I knew I had to do a daily update, guys, because there's a lot of things going on in the crypto space. We're going to be talking about the general crypto market, what's going on in Venezuela at the moment, some big developments in the area, some news in regards to an Ethereum traded product in Switzerland, Lightning Network on Litecoin. We're also going to be talking about some controversy with Wright, and then also Quadriga CX and the debacle around that. I want to provide some extra details on it. So we've got a whole collage of different things to talk about. Let's not push it off any longer and dive right into the video. I do want to let you guys know that we do have a few sponsors in the video today. I want to let you all know that Energy, who's been a sponsor on the channel before, has not only gone to proof of stake, but also recently got listed on KuCoin, so the coin should be experiencing some extra trading liquidity. And above all, we've got a video towards the end of the update that you guys should definitely check out that talks about where they're heading at the moment. And also, for those of you who saw my previous few videos, you might have seen that we did a sponsor with ViberDie, one of the games that's coming on the Vibe platform where you can actually wager tokens against one another. They've got a big competition coming up, so if you guys want details on that, it'll be down in the description. Alrighty, so taking a look here over the past 24 hours, we've seen that crypto over the broader term of things is up for the most part. I definitely say that we're definitely isolated to a few players here. Litecoin moving up. I think a lot of this has to do not only with what we'll talk about in regards to the continued expansion of the Lightning Network on Litecoin, and I'll make a point to why that's important that it's happening on Litecoin. But outside of that as well, in regards to some rumors going around about Mimblewimble implementation, stuff that's been talked about for the past week. Not to mention, I think people are also starting to bottom feed in this market, starting to pick up some discounts in some of the major cryptocurrencies, and seeing as Litecoin's position at 5, it's understandable. So as well as EOS, we can see that trend continuing with some of these larger coins. And Ravencoin continuing to hold up its freaking vertical price action. Absolutely breathtaking in that case. But going on towards overall market cap, we can see here over the last 7 days, again, recouped some of the losses, again, held a little short-term double bottom here, coming back up to this range. Again, nothing significant, guys. I honestly think it's a few players in the market, not to mention Binance Coin has made up a lot of that as well, and that's come with the Fetch AI launch, as we discussed yesterday. Bitcoin dominance continued to deplete as expected, so good to see for altcoins. Now, I don't want to do too much TA today because we've got a lot of news to go through, and we haven't really seen much movement in price. But as we've talked about, I still think we're in for a double bottom in this market around 3,000. I think that's where we're heading over the next few weeks. Now, speaking of some really cool news, I saw this chart just the other day, and boy, did I want to spend some time talking about it. So this is the weekly local Bitcoins volume in Venezuelan Bolivar. Now, this is probably not the best way to gauge weekly local Bitcoins volume, but I thought it was a really good chart to get things kicked off. And we do have another way of viewing this, and that is in terms of Bitcoin here. So I'm on the actual website here, and what's really exciting here is whereas you look at a lot of the local Bitcoin volume traction for different countries, it turns out that most of them have either kind of slowed down or really haven't seen growth since the bear market, and that's understandable for a lot of developed countries. But for Venezuela and Argentina and a lot of countries that have experienced currency crises, Bitcoin has been a safe haven. And now, one thing we do have to factor as well, I really wish we could get this in dollar terms. It doesn't appear that they have that on CoinDance for local Bitcoin volume. I hope that they've worked towards doing that. But even with the decline in Bitcoin's price, we can see that there is a very, very nice set of growth here. Not to mention as well, this is in a bear market, to see this kind of stuff going on. So to see the dollar volume going up and the Bitcoin volume as well, even in a bear market, is really exciting stuff. And it shows us that cryptocurrencies are serving as a hedgeable asset against, capital controls in Venezuela, as well as just simply the fiat currency itself. A lot of people don't have that haven to go to, and some don't feel safe with gold and silver because I think there's a really good way of putting this, and if Marlon's watching, I'm real happy he is. I met a fan actually at a Neo DevCon, and he put up a really good point here that I think speaks to how powerful Bitcoin is. A government can come to you and put a gun to your head, and they can say, give me your gold and silver, just like they can with currency. And you can say, no, I will not give you my gold and silver. And they can pull the trigger, killing you and taking your gold and silver right out of your pocket. But with Bitcoin, when you become your own bank, when you take upon the control of your own money and this digital crypto framework, they can tell you, give me your private key. And you can say, no, I'm not going to. And they can kill you if they want, but they're never going to get access to those funds so long as they don't know where the private key is. And because of that leverage, governments aren't inclined to do so, right? So it's a very impactful change, and I think it's a good reason and a good visual explanation as to why this is the fifth evolution of money. Outside of digital money and then gold and commodity money and paper money, I think it's the fifth evolution in that case. It's very, very exciting. And I think this is a good telltale sign that Venezuela is losing its leverage and in fact has now started to allow Bitcoin and Litecoin to be used in some of the major remittance services. And this is under the Nicolas Maduro regime in this case. This is under Nicolas Maduro, who has obviously come off to some as a proponent of crypto, but I think has been doing a lot to control it because a lot of people have been fleeing away from the Venezuelan bolivar, which obviously the Nicolas Maduro government, whether it was him specifically or not, has led to hyperinflation. So they've actually allowed this within some of the major remittance services within Venezuela, not only in Bitcoin and Litecoin, but they're hoping to expand it later down the road as well. And this is through Patria Remesas. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but one of the major remittance services in Venezuela. And as we all know, in South America, remittance services are key, and this is in general developing markets. But basically, the system allows users to receive a maximum of cryptocurrency equivalent to 10 petros per month. And also as well in bolivars. And the problem here is that we don't really know how much 10 petros are, even though the petro was the biggest global ICO in the world, and it was so big that the federal government had to actually, in the United States, Trump had to sign an executive order. His board had basically directed him to do so, to block investment into the petro. And with due reason in that case. No matter what you think about the Venezuela case right now, guys, it was pretty much a big ploy for money laundering from what I could analyze. So understandable why the U.S. would stop that. But I think getting to the broader point here, I digress. The big point here is that the government cannot censor this. And I think they realize that the only way that they can truly become a part of it or benefit from it is if they integrate it, if they allow people to use these new digital currencies. And I think that's why you see a pretty positive nature for peer-to-peer cash in the United States and other governments abroad as well. They know they can't stop it. It's just a matter of hoping that people won't discover the power of this technology early on. So, going on here, let's go ahead and talk about the developments in the Swiss stock exchange, which has obviously been very forward-thinking with cryptocurrencies, launching a new ETP product or exchange-traded product for Ethereum. So Six Group, which has been working extensively on building ETPs for cryptocurrencies, has now moved on to also launching an Ethereum tradable product with a small management fee of 2.5%, again giving institutional banks and banking clients in Switzerland an opportunity to trade it. So again, positive developments in this case. It's good to see more exchange products coming out. It's inevitable whether we like it or not. And honestly, more than anything, I think it incentivizes guys, as much as some people have very negative views on ETFs and how some people claim we need them. I don't think we need them. But what it does do is it does broaden the audience that can bring interest to crypto. And when you bring money into these products, when you get interest from institutions, you get people talking about it, and you get more investments in the space and directly into cryptocurrencies and into projects abroad. So I think that's very important. Now, again, this is not the first one that the Swiss Stock Exchange has listed. They've listed a basket of projects. In fact, the firm claimed on its website that one of its basket ETPs for the crypto space is up 1,113% since its launch. So they've been very ahead in this game, and even in this bear market have built some products that have netted a yield or a profit for investors. So that's good to see. Going on, though, towards some actual technical development, Litecoin's Lightning Network has reached over 1,000 channels. So we all know Litecoin has usually been a testing ground for a lot of Bitcoin technology, such as SegWit and even Lightning Network in the early days. And even though we've been seeing some great development for Lightning Network on the Bitcoin network, but it's also been going on in a variety of networks like Litecoin as well. And I think it's very important for this to be experimented on in a variety of networks, to just get Lightning adoption to a variety of protocols, but along with that, on a network that has a bigger block size. And one of my things that I wanted to bring up here, outside of the fact that this is really good for Litecoin, I think it's going to get people excited. It's a good milestone. The one thing that I wanted to mention as well, and if you guys want to leave some comments, criticizing this point or at least correcting me on this, please do. One thing that I came to a conclusion on, and I think I saw this on crypto Twitter the other day, when you guys know there's always controversy and different ideas being broadcasted there, but there was one that talked about how on Bitcoin's network, we're processing around 3 to 4 transactions per second, and every time you want to do, onboard someone onto the Lightning Network, you need to open up a payment channel, right? And that's the hope that you're only going to have to open up one. Well, in this case, you have to broadcast a transaction on the Bitcoin network. And if we want to get billions of people onto the network, at this rate of scalability on the actual base blockchain, it's going to take dozens of years, if not hundreds in this case, up towards, I think someone listed the figure of like 21, 60 or 70 something, so, well out over 100 years into the future. But I don't think that's going to be the case. My major point here, though, is that we're going to have to experiment with some blockchains like Litecoin that have a larger block size, that allow for more transactions, and have SegWit implemented that can process more base layer transactions. That's at least my opinion and why I've been more flexible on increasing block size, at least in the early days of crypto. But I'd like to get your thoughts on it, guys. I know it can be a very controversial topic because then you get talking about Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. But as always, I'd like to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments down below. Alrighty, so speaking of controversy, Craig Wright, as you all know, or Satoshi as he likes to claim he is, has the technology to make Zcash and Monero completely traceable. So we all know Zcash and Monero is two of the largest privacy cryptocurrencies. Litecoin could be on the verge of that with an implementation of Mimblewimble. But with these two very heavily encrypted cryptocurrencies, and as well as cryptocurrencies that just use a variety of different technologies like RingCT, Kovri, all kinds of things, bulletproofs to mask transactions and make it affordable on the public blockchains that they are. It is very interesting to hear someone like Craig Wright, who has gone out and made a variety of bold claims, saying that he can take down what he calls scam coins. Now, these cryptocurrencies, in my mind, have come from the same open source framework as Bitcoin and have done some really amazing things. Sure, I think, no doubt, just like the internet, they have been used for a variety of bad cases. And if you go on Twitter, this is really the case that you get from Craig, that he not only believes he can break through these, but along with that as well, that a lot of them are scam or crime coins, and that he'd much rather work with governments to breach these cryptocurrencies in order to to call out these shams or these scams rather than letting them live. Here's the thing, though. More than anything, guys, we have to understand, no matter where you stand on the Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash debate, Craig talks a lot. And I want to see more execution from this. If he can break this technology, would love to see it. I think it's important that we do it now, because if he doesn't expose it early on and show the breaches in this technology, it is going to be very bad in the future when privacy coins are trying to make a stand in mainstream adoption, right? So I'm someone who's all for privacy. I think cryptocurrencies cannot be cryptocurrencies unless they are peer-to-peer cash, and peer-to-peer cash, just like normal cash, needs to work in a private fashion. So you guys can go check this out. I'll go ahead and read his tweet. Yes, I can make Zcash and Monero completely traceable. A means to start monitoring it all, and attributing, and responsible disclosure if not those teams. It is not those teams. Sorry, my apologies. Have a nice life. So lots of threads being made. Love to know what your guys' thoughts are on it. But the last topic we're going to be talking about today is Quadriga CX. Now, Quadriga CX has gained another 45-day extension from court, and I want to spend some time. I'm definitely going to try and get this as a podcast episode in the future. I met a very interesting individual from NIA DevCon, a really nice guy who did an audit on Quadriga CX. And boy, was it a handful of insight from what I already knew going on with Quadriga. And long story short, they're basically talking about how there's an extension in this article about the court dates and dealing with what's going on, not to mention the fact that wallets have been moving funds still to this day. So I think the story of someone, the CEO more precisely, passing away is pretty much completely irrelevant at this point. It's completely falsified. And there's been some really interesting revelations I got from this individual who was talking about how the CEO of Quadriga, who at the surface looks like a CEO you can trust, as someone who has worked in faking identities before. He's had a variety of criminal backgrounds and business activities before. His wife, who people can't seem to get too much information on, much like the CEO himself, has changed his name a variety of times and has all these interesting ways of working. But again, I want to spend some time to talk about this further, and like I said, I'll try to get working towards doing that episode soon enough. But I feel for the people of Quadriga CX. It's really upsetting, and I think Quadriga, though even on a dollar value in this market, is not as big as Mt. Gox. It is a huge setting stone I think, in the West predominantly, and specifically in Canada, to understand the importance of not only becoming your own bank, but that we are just at the cusp of cryptocurrencies in this market as a whole, and we have a lot to learn. And I think one of the biggest innovations that's going to lead to the next cycle for cryptocurrencies is going to be making it easier to become your own bank than trusting centralized exchanges. And I know that seems hard to fathom, but I can tell you all, from what I've seen at Abra and DeFi as well, there's a lot of other blockchain wallet projects going on out there. There's a lot of interesting things going on that are making it much simpler to not only become your own bank, but also still have access to trading on decentralized exchanges and things of that sort that still feels like you're on an exchange, that has the convenience and the comfort of an exchange, but you get to become your own bank, and that is extremely exciting in my mind. That's what I'm looking forward to. I want to know, though, what you guys are looking forward to? What do you guys think about the news that we talked about? We had a whole handbasket of things to go through. Until the next video, though, guys, I will see you all in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe, trade smart, and I'll see you all in the next one. Stay tuned.
Evolution is behind all great achievements. It has allowed us to go from ideas to space. It has empowered us to turn our dreams into reality. Today, distributed ledger technology is the most significant phenomenon in the evolution of the digital world. It is the future.
Energy is the first cryptocurrency that brings together some of the most powerful ideas in cryptocurrency.
The vision beyond just the technical infrastructure.
We're talking about something that's expansionary at its core, and this goes beyond common features such as improving on transaction speed, mass scalability, low fees. Energy has all of these, but the truly game-changing proposition here is Energy's decentralized governance and treasury system. And that's a system that not only makes Energy self-sustaining, but is also a self-reinforcing phenomenon. That's the evolution of cryptocurrency.
Essentially is a healthy growth snowball effect. As awareness increases, so does its treasury economic power, and so does adoption fueled by it.
An organization to be self-funding, to be able to propel itself, to pay its developers, to pay its team, and to do so in an accelerating way, where every dollar you invest in the organization yields to a dollar of greater growth. It's a positive feedback loop. The development, the marketing, the operations, the expansion, a self-funded treasury that's well-directed is an incredibly powerful machine. You're creating no longer just a cryptocurrency, but a living, breathing organization, something that can be as powerful as world governments.